What's going on, guys? Jurassic here. Today we are playing Call of Duty Cold War Operation Outbreak. So basically you play on the Battle Royale map styles a little bit. That way you can somewhat experience it while playing zombies, so you don't actually have to fight people in this mode.
Be advised, strike team is on the ground in the OZ.
Photon indicates a power node nearby. That crystal's accelerating the Ethereum infestation in this area.
So basically there'll be little objectives around the world that you have to acquire in order to get better loot. And you can also do trials while you're waiting in between waves. So basically, unless you leave this map, it is always going to be on level 1. The levels don't necessarily replicate the same as like a traditional zombie match though. So just because it says level 1 doesn't mean that they're actually that level. For example, this is the, I guess it's like a dragon area. Basically, you have to kill them inside of a purple ring of fire in order to fill up a dragon to get a loot box. Basically, it's like the dogs from Mob of the Dead or Blood of the Dead, if you guys have ever played that. It takes a little bit of zombies, so you are going to have to fight here for a couple of minutes. And for the most part, it is a one-hit stab. I believe even all the way on to the next level once we get to the next map. But after that, they start getting more health and they can run a little bit quicker. So this is definitely going to be the easiest one. So you probably want to try to do as much trials as possible and at least leave here with Jug and Pack-a-Punch level 1. But obviously doing these little areas, you can easily get a lot of money since everything sort of runs in the same area for you. Sort of wraps it up nice and easy. Once it's full, the ring will completely disappear and you will see a dragon head pop out of the top of the machine. It'll breathe a little bit of fire, the rocket will take off, and there'll be some loot down below. It is completely luck though, so it just depends what you actually get. Alright, let's see what we get. Sorry about that, I completely missed the dragon. We saw like the very end of it. And if you guys are wondering, you can completely crawl underneath the rocket. It does not burn you or hurt you at all. Looks like we got a rocket. Well, I guess that's alright.
Too right, I'm armed.
So basically there'll be like 2 or 3 side objectives around the world, and then there'll be like the main objectives in order to continue on. The main objective will always be called the holdout.
That crystal will terraform this whole region
In this
if we
map,
don't stop it. Plant the charges and get it done.
basically holdout, you have to travel into the Aether realm and you sort of have to defend a random area. Fast forward this little loading scene a little bit. And we are back.
Hold out, team. Detonation and the crystal is destroyed. This realm will be yours too.
So basically he talks trash the entire time. So the main point of this area is pretty much to try to find an area where you think they're mostly protected from. They don't seem to break down barriers, so I mean you can even open up the doors like around there, for example. All it does is open the door. I mean you can close them, but no zombies actually come through or try to break the barricade, so it's a little weird. And I found that if you somewhat get on a little bit higher elevation, they seem to have a little bit harder time hitting you. They don't seem to be as willing to throw like random objects at you in this world, so that's pretty cool. And don't forget, you always have grenades or, you know, decoys to try to help pin them off a little bit. This is going to take 3 minutes though, so it's going to be a little bit of a fight. You know, I was sitting there trying to break down the barricades, but that just doesn't do anything at all for you. Can't actually break inside, can't do anything at all. Alright, so getting plenty of tomahawks. Now, it does seem like this is more of a wave-based kind of thing, so they're not necessarily going to be charging at you like full force. It does seem to have like a pretty big dip in amount of time it takes the zombies to start attacking you. Throw a decoy, sometimes they'll get out the windows a little quicker. That's what I was doing. Alright, see the zombies. So basically, this map is always going to have a holdout. I believe there is 3 maps in rotation, so basically after you make it to round 3, you're going to start repeating very similar maps. Obviously it'll be a lot tougher because the enemies will have more health, but eventually you're going to reach a point where you're traveling to the exact same maps over and over. good news is, though, we have enough to get either a weapon upgraded or jug, and that'll definitely be primary goal. And as long as nothing bad happens, we should be good. Alright, so just a minute more. See on this little plant here. It seems to be working out for us. I don't know, I was really expecting them to start throwing out their ribs and stuff, but it seems like this game mode, they don't do it as often. And another thing is, on this game mode in particular, if you have brain rot, you can actually take over some of the mini bosses around the world. So like the dudes with the rocket launcher things on their arms, you can take over those. I'm forgetting what their name is right now. And you can also take over a little electric race around the world too, which is pretty cool. They don't really seem to be that helpful though. Sort of like the hell dogs, where they somewhat are helpful, but then after a while they'll just sort of sit there and lag their tail and not actually attack people.
Good shooting, kid.
At 30 milliseconds, we got this. Seems fairly easy so far. Do a couple more shots. Obviously, if you're playing by yourself, it might be a little bit harder. This is a 3-man group right now. Oh, and by the way, it does not appear that you can join people mid-progress. So you're going to have to just keep that in mind. If you do start this match with, you know, one friend down, they're probably not going to be able to join. I don't know if that was intentional, because it was set up in a private match, but some of their game modes, they allow people to join in later, some they don't. Now let's head back to the map. Get a little bit of fast forward action. And now we'll have an anomaly after you finish the main objective in the area. This will allow the Pack-a-Punch machine and basically crafting stations, armory, everything that you need will be in this area, including the Wonder Fizz. The beacon will have two options. You can warp to the next area or you can exfil. Exfil, you will have to fight in an area to defend yourself. Warp, you just take it on to the next level. So you probably at least want armor, jug, and Pack-a-Punch your gun. Maybe even upgrade the tier while you're here if you have a little bit of extra stuff. We do not worry about the trial necessarily. You can pretty much work on it as you continue on, but you do hopefully get to a decent reward. Normally they have a chance of getting some fairly good weapons, such as the ray gun. Alrighty. You ready to go yet? Yep, looks like it. Perfect. So let's head to the beacon and go on to the next map. All the maps are pretty much set up like this, so there'll be like little mini world objectives around, but there'll be a main objective that basically is marked. So if you click select or am on computer, you can basically see icons around the world. So the eliminate will have 3 skulls. The dragon will have its own like little dragon head on the map. Basically go over to those areas, and those are like mini side objectives. However, the main objective to unlock the anomaly will always be marked. So this is one of the skull objectives where basically you have to eliminate a target. There'll be little light beams from the sky and you have to come over here and kill this dude because he killed that guy on the ground. So, some of these do have a little bit extra health, so make sure you're prepared. The good thing is the Megatons do actually drop decent amount of loot whenever they do die. So you do have a chance of getting a ray gun or a decent weapon at least. So if you get a nuke, the bosses automatically take half health, so it's definitely preferred if you do have one. And nukes also cover a very small radius on this game mode compared to a regular one. So even though you get a nuke in this area, let's say in the escort area, which is all the way like 70 meters away or so, they probably won't be taking damage at
all. Good hunting. Requiem thanks you for your support.
Alright, so let's grab some C4. Don't RPG the Sigma.
I'll put this to work.
I guess I'll take the Sigma. This dude's still trying to shoot us for some reason.
Lovely.
There we go. Nice. Now on this map in particular, there's little purple crystals that you can pick up. For example, there's this one on this building right here. Whatever you do, don't jump on this corner because you will be stuck. And I tried everything completely imaginable to get out. It didn't work. I don't know what I did. I just thought I'd include this because this is where we basically upgrade our gun for free because, you know, we have to fully die out. So here's a great plan. Why don't you just kill yourself? It should help you, right? No, you end up inside the building. After crawling around the building for however long it takes to fully bleed out, we'll fast forward this a little bit, and I never fall down to the ground. So there goes all my stuff that I worked. However, he was able to actually jump up and collect the part, so good on you. Now let's go back to the escorting and continue on the main mission. If you do die out, it does upgrade your weapons here though, so we went from blue to green. Sorry, I said that backwards. We went from green to blue.
We rely on the data it transmits to
we
our
basically had enough money to buy a jug and a puncher gun, so we pretty much got back up. But we did end up putting the burst element on there. If you do use brain rot though, it seems to work pretty good on the mini bosses around the world.
Multiple incoming threats.
And we got a little monkey inside the cage. So basically the zombies are going to come over here and try to eat all of them. I'm going to take out the mimics. So Rover doesn't seem to take too much damage. Like, there can be quite a bit of zombies, but they seem primarily focused on you, even though the Rover is somewhat leading itself in its own conflict. So it's not like a mandatory, oh my god, there's a zombie on there. You do have plenty of time. It is going to take a little bit for him to figure out where he wants to settle in around the map though, so you are going to travel quite a distance. And make sure if you get an armor drop to pick it up.
Commencing scan for stable temporal signatures.
He's going to scan this little crystal and basically it's going to tell him to go into the next area.
I'm in C4.
Oh, by the way, if you do die out, your trial progress goes all the way back to square one. So that is why we lost all the epic status and everything else. So we're sort of back to common. I don't think we actually do finish the trial this episode.
That's
I'm pretty much in common from here on out. Basically by now you should have legendary status on your trial and at least attempt to get something good from it. Obviously it's RNG, so there's no guarantees. You get a ray gun, obviously that's preferred. Same with shotguns, like the Howler or the Gallo. Both of those are probably the second best weapons. And just so you guys know, I was just using this gun to level up. I don't actually recommend using this weapon. If you're going for high rounds, probably a shotgun, especially since, you know, zombies typically run towards you. It's not really a distance thing that you gotta worry about. I don't believe you can actually I don't believe you can actually upgrade this standard wonder weapon in this mode. You know how in the other map you can actually pick up stuff to put elements on it? I don't think that's the thing in this area. So it's probably useful up to like round 3 or so on this style, where basically by then you probably want to swap it out for a shotgun or anything better, really.
Detecting massive surge
So basically at the end of this escort, you're going to have to fend off a whole bunch of zombies. And at this point, there is a very unfriendly zombie behind me, very slowly, throwing a ribcage at me. There we go, nice. So basically, it's going to go inside of this little portal doohickey, and then you are fully finished.
Transport initiated.
And wait 12 seconds. Kaboom.
Payload is through. Dr. Gray, what's its status?
Affirmative. Escort successful. We are receiving now. Well done, everyone.
Alright, so now we can head over to the next beacon. Basically, you want to try to get any perks or try to do as much trials and stuff as you can. Probably want to at least have your weapons upgraded to level 2, unless you start over. And probably, if you can, get the armor to the 2nd level, probably would be the best bet. Eventually, there is a lack of zombies around an area, though, so there is going to come a point where it's just going to be like hipfire zombies, and no zombies are in a mile. Since, you know, they're not as aggressive on this mode, you do have a lot more time to walk around and explore things. However, the trials do somewhat rely on zombies being within an area that you can find in a certain time frame. We're basically going to have to just do it the next time. But if you guys open up the map, you can basically see all the little objects around the world. Now, just so you know, these new items aren't actually going to pop up on the map. So even though we have Pack-a-Punch unlocked over here, it's not actually going to show on the map, but it will show that you can use the beacon to get out of here. And basically the beacon means everything is in the area. Everybody has to agree to go through the portal. Takes about 10 seconds, and then it will warp you into the next map. Now, I believe there's only 3 maps. Yeah, it should be 3. I'm gonna take a little bit of a warp speed, so let's just speed it up. Now we're back to Alpine. Alrighty.
Thanks.
So,
I owe you one.
first things first, we basically want to just look for the skulls and the dragons around the world. There's also a golden box challenger. Basically, you just have to kill around the box to get a chance of getting something decent.
Picking up enemy contacts near you. Hunt them down.
Obviously, this doesn't progress your map progress any, but it does allow you to get extra money and obviously free perks and stuff like that. 3 skulls always give you a free perk. And since we lost all of our perks, that should come in quite handy. So let's head over here. Obviously they progress. So these guys have like little flamethrowers on them. They are going to be a lot tougher as you progress. Basically the enemy levels don't scale the same as a typical zombie match. I'm not sure the exact conversion rate. It's probably like 6 levels or so. I don't think it's 10, but it's definitely more than 5 based on their speed. So I think zombies typically max out their speed at around 25 to 30. After that, it's just mostly more damage, but they do actually run quicker. So, this is where your upgraded weapons come into play. Basically, you're going to have to shoot them quite a bit. If you shoot these guys in the face, basically the little glass part will break off and you can do a little bit more critical damage. And definitely want to make sure that you try to stay in an area where there's not a whole bunch of mini bosses, because that will add a lot higher difficulty to the area. Thankfully, the bosses seem to mostly run after them. Alright, so we got a shotgun. I mean, it's not Pack-a-Punch yet, but shotguns are typically a little overpowered in zombies. Ooh, they're super low. Let's get out of there a little bit. Oh, and if you have a self-revive, obviously that'll help too. You know what, let's just have them take this one out and then we'll all worry about them chasing me. I think that sounds a little bit better. Alright, so that one is dead. That dude's going to slowly come after us. Ooh, already out. Oh, I don't have quick revive, nice. Alright, so we can get to his face, obviously. We'll do a little bit more damage, but typically the person he is chasing is going to have the best shot at it. So another good place is shoot him in the back or something. What did we get? Elemental Paw.
Good hunting.
Fantastic. Alright, so let's head on over into the next area. Got us another dragon to feed. As you progress, obviously the enemy levels are going to be harder. So some of these higher levels are going to be a lot more intense trying to feed the dragon. However, basically this allows free loot, so it's probably recommended to always do this. I wouldn't necessarily say you need to do the elimination ones after everybody has all 6 perks. So right around this time, you'd probably be pretty close to like 5 or 6 perks, and you wouldn't really need to do it. And basically this is going to be the exact same thing over and over. So once you have played these 3 maps, you sort of get the general gist of what they expect of you to do on these maps. And there'll be little boxes around the world with little small loot crates that you can pick scrap and stuff up. Ooh, we got a monkey, nice. Alright. Flip golden box. And we got an AUG. However, I will take the cruise missile.
Cruise missile awaiting deployment.
Nice. Alright, so let's eliminate the hostile so we can continue on to the next level.
Nominal. Locking target. Initiating firing sequence. Firing
2,
in 3,
1.
2.
There you go, buddy. And the little death laser is where the main bad guy will be. So basically, you're going to have to do this in a 3-tiered fight.
Cut the head
He's
from the
going to
snake,
run
Strike
away
Team.
several times, so you're just sort of going to have to chase him around and hopefully you catch up to him and kill him. He splits relatively easy, especially if people have, you know, wonder weapons and stuff. So he is going to fly away and you can follow his smoke trail, or you can listen to the prompt that pops up here in a second. It'll be like, yeah, he's over to the southeast of you.
Target reacquired, southeast of your
And
position.
then you just basically go to the next area. Obviously, it shows
Stand by for
eliminate, so it's not necessarily too important to keep track of like the smoke trail or anything, but it'll always tell you where he's at. So, once you run over here, he's going to run away again after you do enough damage. Basically, you take a third of his health every single time. The zombies don't necessarily scale with him though, so typically the first area is probably the hardest. It just depends if there's a mini boss within that area or not.
I'm dead enemy.
Now this is where like the cruise missiles and other objects that you could buy from the crafting table or collect from the dragon roller come in handy because you could do quite a bit of damage. So you want to make sure you find him on the map, and since he's marked with eliminate, you should be able to do the max amount of damage. Nice. Basically, he's going to get out on the way and he's going to dip out.
I want that threat eliminated.
Track him down one last time. Look like he went up the hill.
Target reacquired, southeast of your position.
There's a whole lot of running this style of gameplay, just so you guys know. Oh, and you can also drive the vehicles around the world. However, there are a little electric race. I don't think we've actually seen one yet. Wait, I cut this. Huh. Anyways, they basically electrocute the vehicles and make it so you can't drive them. However, occasionally it will show that the vehicle is critically damaged, but you need to drive inverse. So back is now forward occasionally when they hit you. It just depends how much damage they do and if the car is usable or not.
Split in 2.
So once they split, you want to go and melt him.
Apex threat eliminated, Carver.
Advance advancement.
Another good kill, Strike Team. That'll send a message.
And you get plenty of the flawless, refined, and regular crystals. These new crystals allow you to upgrade all of your perks and everything. Alright, we got all that. I believe everything is done on this map, so all we have to do now is head back over to the beacon. And we're probably going to skip a couple waves. 4 and 5 are basically going to be relatively similar, and we decided to exfil on round 6, so we're probably just going to skip to 6. Just to speed it up a little bit. Show you guys the mostly exfil and stuff like that. So come over here to the anomaly. Basically you can open up the beacon, which will allow you to pack a punch and everything in one area. And I think we are good. Alright, so now that we made it to level 6, we need to do the main objective to continue on. The closer you get to the crystal, the less effective vehicles seem to be. Basically, it pops up this little purple radius where vehicles sort of get like EMP'd a little bit. So you want to defend yourself a little bit, make sure the area is clear, and then you have to hold X or whatever button you have mapped for a couple seconds and plant the bomb. Go into the holdout. Defend yourself. So basically you want to try to find like a little cubby hole or something. Like this room over here seems to work out pretty good for us. So there's no way in, no way out. Or one way, technically. And don't worry about stuff behind you because they just never come through that way, so. But I mean, I went ahead and closed the door because it's a little weird to have it open. So now basically you just have to survive for 3 minutes. Spin off the area, you'll go back into the main map, which will unlock the beacon. Obviously, as you progress, eventually your weapons are going to be high enough tiered to where you're doing so much damage that can sort of even out. You have to go quite a ways before the shotgun doesn't get to be effective. So with tier 3 shotgun, we're pretty much one-hitting the majority of the stuff. And one of us has the new ray gun, which basically has a little elemental portal guy that spins around and does damage and often chops off zombies' legs for you. We were lucky enough to actually get another cruise missile though, so once we actually exfil, we should be able to utilize that pretty good. Fend off the zombies as best that we can. It doesn't really seem to progress harder as you wait, it just seems to be like the same pattern of attacking you. So like the more time you're in this realm, it doesn't actually seem to be scaling harder in difficulty in my opinion. And if you have a ring of fire, obviously you do increase damage, so if you're feeling that you're getting a little bit swarmed, you can go and pop it. And some of the mini bosses will also show up too. The good thing is when power-ups drop, obviously insta-kill is going to help a lot. Same with a nuke. Nuke wouldn't be as effective since they have a pretty small radius, it would only clear out, you know, within the vicinity. Wait for the boss to split. He won't do any damage while he's splitting. As soon as he breaks like that, he can go and finish him off. Nice. And it looks like he dropped the die machine. And higher up you go, typically they drop better loot, so as you guys notice, everything is legendary. So if you did want a legendary RPG, now would be the perfect time. Get out of here, mimic! I don't know why the brain rot zombies sometimes just like run into people instead of zombies. It's weird. He didn't seem to be the best. He was trying to eat all of us. But he wasn't even trying to eat. He was just sort of mainly trying to block our weapons. I guess technically that would be worse. He thought about it that way. 13 seconds. We got this. So what do you guys think of this new mode? It definitely makes things last a lot longer.
Somebody take that ray gun.
Just need to try to roll with the mini boss's health a little bit. What are you doing, zombie? You mind? Pretty sure it's a 6 feet roll right now, mister. Alright. Ooh, looks like he got a ray gun. Nice. So they're going to travel back to the map. Now that the main area has been completed, you can go back to the anomaly, open up the beacon, and you can decide to continue on or to exfil.
Raptor 1 inbound. Get to the LZ.
Keep in mind when you exfil, you do have to go quite a ways away from the beacon. And it looks like our snowmobile is broken, but we are going to take this one. Get out of here, Wraith.
Raptor 1 at the evac
This is the
point.
guy that I was telling you guys about. If they hit your vehicles, basically it goes into like this EMP effect. Sometimes it'll say broken even though it's not, and it'll just be inverse controlled. So if you push backwards, you'll actually propel yourself forward, not as fast, have you, but you still will move. Alright, so let's park somewhere safe right around here. And let's get this cruise missile in. We should be able to take out a good amount. Nice. Kill everybody. Fantastic. Now there's only 11 enemies inside of the radius, so we should be fine. And 5 enemies remain. Some of these can be bosses though, so just keep that in mind. If you do start running low on health, make sure you take out the bosses first. These tempests aren't too strong, but they teleport away, which is a little bit annoying. And you sort of have to track down where they end up at. Let's see here. Looks like we got one more boss. If you shoot this dude in the arm, basically his little rocket thing will pop off and we'll be able to do a lot less damage to you, but it'll mostly run towards you. And I just had a whole bunch of tomahawks, so I figured I'd just chuck them all at him.
Every successful op
Go and
gives
kill
us
you.
1 over Omega.
Sir, yes sir. It is time to exfil. So that is going to be it for today, guys. If you enjoyed, make sure you leave a like and subscribe. I will see you in the next one.